as I looked at her, I could tell she genuinely trusted me, and the timing felt perfect. When I met Ashley's soon-to-be father-in-law, it was during the wedding planning phase, a meet-and-greet situation. I wasn't expecting a warm welcome, but his cold demeanor caught me off guard. As soon as I entered the room, I felt he was scrutinizing me with his eyes before he even spoke a word. He barely acknowledged my introduction. At some point, he tilted his head and said, "Oh, you're just a brother. I assumed her father would be here." His words seemed innocent, but the way he delivered them was condescending. It was as if I wasn't sufficient to represent our side of the family. I took a deep breath, explained that my father had passed away many years ago. He barely reacted, and his indifference only made me more determined. He then asked what I did for a living, and I knew exactly what kind of person I was dealing with. He was the type who judged people based on their title, salary range, connections, and social status. I sensed he was trying to categorize me, but I wasn't about to give him the satisfaction of a performance. So, I kept it simple and told him I worked a corporate job. He nodded slightly, but his response was unenthusiastic. I smiled, feeling a sense that one day he would look at me differently. The wedding day arrived, and everything felt right. My sister looked stunning, and it was clear she was happy. That was all I wanted for her. I was making small talk with some guests when the father-in-law walked past us. He glanced over, met my eyes for a brief moment, and then looked away. It was obvious he was being intentional, and I found it unnecessary. He had already made his opinion of me clear during the wedding planning stages, but I thought he would at least pretend to be civil in public. I didn't react, I just kept talking to the people around me. That was my sister's day, and I wasn't going to let some ego-driven snob ruin it for her or for me. Some things weren't worth the energy. During the reception, an organizer approached me and said I was next for a short speech. I was taken aback, but I figured, why not? My sister deserved to hear from me on her special day. I walked up to the mic, took a breath, and started speaking from the heart. I introduced myself, and a few heads turned, mostly because people assumed our parents would be there instead. I shared how I became my sister's guardian when I was barely out of college and how we lost our dad unexpectedly in a car crash. My sister was finishing high school, and I was just wrapping up college. We had no one else. Our mom had remarried and wasn't really involved in our lives. So, it was just the two of us. I talked about how I juggled multiple jobs to keep us going and how I sacrificed a lot, including relationships, to ensure she had the life she deserved. I casually mentioned that all this while, I was also helping build a startup from scratch. I glanced at the door and smiled, giving a shout-out to my co-founder, who just arrived, fashionably late as always. There was a pause in the room, that kind of pause where people were processing what they just heard. The energy shifted again. I didn't say it to show off, I said it to give context and help people understand why my bond with my sister runs deep and why I was proud to be standing there watching her begin a new chapter. I ended the speech by saying how happy I was that she found someone who loved and respected her and that I was confident she was in good hands. After the speech, I stepped down, and before I even got to my seat, guess who was suddenly interested in talking? The father-in-law. This time, he was all smiles, like we were old friends. He made a beeline for me and my co-founder, shook our hands firmly, and started praising our software like it was the best thing since sliced bread. "Your platform's been a complete game changer for my company," he said. "I've actually been trying to buy you guys out for a while now." I nodded politely and said, "That's good to hear. Maybe we can talk business sometime after the wedding." I didn't want to get into anything heavy right then. But then he leaned in and asked why I didn't tell him I was a co-founder when we met. His tone wasn't accusatory, but you could tell he felt blindsided. I turned to face him fully and looked him in the eye and said, "Why should I so you could fake being nice to me?" He froze, and I just said it plainly, then walked away, leaving him standing there like a man who just realized he misjudged the wrong person. So, where do things stand now? Well, to keep it simple, nothing changed on the surface, but everything changed underneath. We never sold the company to my sister's father-in-law. Not because we were being petty, but because it just didn't feel right. He tried to buy us out before, and I knew he wasn't coming from a place of genuine respect. It felt like he wanted control, not partnership. We stayed the course, and the company grew on our own terms. Funny enough, his company still uses our software, still pays the license, and still sends support emails. We treat him like any other client, professional, polite, but nothing more. It's strictly business. What matters most to me now is that my sister is doing great, and she's respectful to me, even after everything that went down with his dad. That says a lot about his character, and honestly, that's what gives me peace. Whatever awkwardness there might have been with his family, Ashley's happy, and for everything we went through, that's all I wanted at the end of the day. Now I want to share a few things this whole experience taught me, lessons I carry with me every single day. First, never assume someone's worth based on what they look like or what they tell you. You really don't know what someone is carrying or what they've built from scratch. I've walked into rooms where people looked past me like I didn't matter until they saw the title under my name or recognized the company I co-founded. That kind of respect is empty. If you can't respect someone when they're quiet and humble, your respect doesn't mean anything when they're successful. Second, respect should be your default, not your currency. Don't give it only to people who can do something for you. Don't wait for someone to prove they're important before you start treating them right. You don't lose anything by being kind. You lose a lot more when you're not. And finally, sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one keeping it together for everyone else. They're the ones carrying weight you don't see. So next time you feel the urge to overlook someone, pause. Ask yourself why, and maybe just choose to respect them anyway. To wrap this up, I'll say this. True respect isn't something you demand or buy. It's something you earn through how you treat people, especially when no one's watching. Status, money, power, those things fade or shift. But character sticks. The way you talk to people, the way you carry yourself, how you respond when you think no one's paying attention. That's the real definition of who you are. Everyone has a story you don't know. Be humble. If this story resonated with you, if it made you think or reminded you of something you've experienced, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you in the next one.